No bull. Michael Jordan hints he'll return.
Thank you so much this morning. Good morning.
Whatever you do, do not open that door.
Mr. Roker, Al, it is such a pretty morning, isn't it?
Perfect fall morning.
47 past the hour. Back after this.
But isn't in America and in politics, isn't spinning? What is spinning, Charlie?
Like Babyface forgot his razor. A definite new look for you. What are you going for?
Other than that, it's kind of quiet around the country. We like quiet. It's quiet. It's too quiet.
New York City, 5 proud boroughs sitting where the Hudson River meets the Atlantic Ocean. At the city's heart, Manhattan, densely populated and among the world's major cultural, commercial, and financial centers. With over 8 million people living in New York City, 1 in every 38 people in the United States call this city home. September 11th, 2001, New York will change forever. Not just the skyline, but the mindset of a nation. Ready for takeoff that morning at Logan International Airport, Boston, are 2 commercial passenger planes, American Airlines Flight 11 and United Airlines Flight 175, just a regular route to Los Angeles. Hard to believe today, but not one person had to remove their shoes, empty their pockets, or pull half their belongings out of their carry-on in order to get to the departure gate to board. No plane ticket was required to walk to any departure gate in the airport. Friends and family, anybody, could see you off or could be waiting at the arrival's gate for you on landing. Before the events of this fatal day, airport policy actually allowed utility knives of up to 4 inches in length on board in passengers' hand luggage. Despite setting off alarms and being searched more thoroughly, the hijackers successfully made it through airport security in Boston, armed with box cutters and knives.
American 11, climb maintain below level 350. American 11, climb maintain below level 350. American 11, Boston. Earth 7, Mike Lima, how do you hear?
Mike Lima, has you loud and clear?
American 11, Boston. American 11, the American on the frequency, how do you hear me?
This is Adam.
This is Boston. I turned American 20 left and I was going to climb him. He will not respond to me now.
Looks like he's turning right.
Yeah, I turned him 20 right.
Oh, okay.
And he's only going to, I think, 29.
Number 3 in the back, the cockpit's not answering. Somebody's stabbed in business class. And I think there's mace that we can't breathe. I don't know. I think we're getting hijacked.
Which flight are you on?
Flight 12.
And what seat are you in? Ma'am, are you there?
Yes.
What seat are you in?
Ma'am, what seat are you in? We just left Boston. We're up in the air.
I know.
We're supposed to go to L.A., and the cockpit's not answering their phone.
Okay, but what seat are you sitting in? What's the number of your seat?
Okay, I'm in my jump seat right now.
Okay.
At 3R.
Okay, you're the flight attendant? I'm sorry, did you say you're the flight attendant?
Hello?
Yes, hello?
What is your name?
Hi. You're going to have to speak up. I can't hear you.
Sure. What is your name?
Okay, my name is Betty Ong. I'm number 3 on flight 11.
Okay.
And the cockpit is not answering their phone. And there's somebody stabbed in business class, and we can't breathe in business class. Somebody's got mace or something. Our number 1 has been stabbed, and our 5 has been stabbed. Can anybody get up to the cockpit? Can anybody get up to the cockpit? Okay, we can't even get into the cockpit. We don't know who's up there. Is anybody still there?
Yes, we're still here.
Okay. I'm staying on the line as well.
Okay.
Have you guys called anyone else?
No. Somebody's calling medical, and we can't get a stop.
American Airlines emergency line, please state your emergency.
Hey, this is Nitty at American Airlines calling. I am monitoring a call in which Flight 11, the flight attendant is advising our reps that the pilot, everyone's been stabbed.
Mana 6720.
Is that American 11 trying to call?
Buddy, we have some planes. Just stay quiet and you'll be okay. We're turning to the airport.
15 Southwest of Bono going to Hampton, climbing that. And who's trying to call me here? American 11, are you trying to call?
Nobody move. Everything will be okay. If you try to make any move, you'll injure yourself and the airplane. Just stay quiet.
Hi, Boston Center Team U. We have a problem here. We have a hijacked aircraft headed towards New York, and we need you guys to, we need someone to scramble some F-16s or something up there to help us out.
Kennedy Tower reports. Are you serious? Kennedy Tower reports that there was a fire at the World Trade Center, and that's the area where we lost the airplane.
At 8:46 a.m. 5 hijackers deliberately crash American Airlines Flight 11 into the World Trade Center's North Tower. Oblivious to what was about to happen, in the windows of the World Restaurant at the top of the North Tower, 100 innocent people were attending a conference. Among them was 31-year-old Christopher Hanley, who made one of the first recorded calls to 911 emergency services that day.
Yeah, hi. I'm on the 106th floor of the World Trade Center. We just had an explosion.
The 106th floor?
Yes.
106, okay.
We have smoke, and it's pretty bad. We can't get down the stairs.
All right.
We have about 100 people up here.
Do not leave, okay? There's a fire or an explosion or something in the building. All right, I want you to stay where you are.
Yes.
All right, we're there. We're coming up to get you.
See the smoke coming up from outside the windows down?
All right, we're on the way. Just sit tight. All right, just sit tight. We're on the way.
All right, please hurry.
With no prior threat or government security intelligence warning, a terrorist attack was unexpected. So the common consensus both inside and on the ground was that an unexplained explosion had rocked the North Tower. The brutal truth was that American Airlines Flight 11, while traveling at upwards of 460 miles per hour, had hit the north face of the building, creating a catastrophic chasm in the World Trade Center tower between floors 93 and 99. Flight 11's trajectory reached the very center of the North Tower, cutting through the 3 blocks of staircases in the process. Above the impact point at floor 93, every person's route to safety was destroyed. The reality? 1,344 lives were in mortal jeopardy. On the streets, confusion turned to panic. In footage captured by Joshua Good, students stand on top of a building, speculating about what actually is happening in the North Tower.
How could a plane crash in the World Trade Center in the mid-morning?
Fucking, I guess I didn't see it.
Planes can't fly that low. It would have hit like...
They say on paper right now. I mean, no, they're not sure what it is. They're saying it might be.
I heard something. I thought it was thunder. I said it's gonna be thunder.
90,000 liters of jet fuel in the plane's fuel tanks ignited in the North Tower, starting an intense fire that raged uncontrollably inside the building. Combustible materials from the offices created a terrifying inferno where choking smoke, flames, and high temperatures made human life untenable. Adding to the horror, now damaged elevator shafts provided a lethal conduit for the burning jet fuel to rage through the floors of the building as far as the entrance lobby. An estimated 8,000 people who could evacuate from the floors below the 93rd story point of impact were faced with a chaotic and frightening scenario. The towers of the World Trade Center complex had not been designed to facilitate a mass evacuation, and in each of the twin towers, there were only 3 narrow stairwells descending to ground level. Another hindrance to the evacuation of the World Trade Center was that as the plane struck, the force of the impact caused the fabric of the building to shift enough to jam doors in their frames, stairwells to become blocked by broken wallboards, so trapping dozens of distraught people, mostly on the floors closest to the impact zone. With the exit routes destroyed, the flames, heat, and black smoke made conditions unbearable for those trapped inside the North Tower. With no alternative, tragically, it is estimated that between 100 and 200 people jumped to their death, rather than be consumed by the flames raging inside the doomed building. Caroline Dries, a former NYU student, watched the events unfold from her bedroom window.
Jules, this is Ryan. Listen, on an airplane that's been hijacked. If things don't go well, it's not looking good. I just want you to know I absolutely love you. I want you to do good. So happy to find. Same to my parents and everybody. And I just totally love you, and I'll see you later. Hi, Dave. Hope I call you.
At 9:02 a.m., orders are given for both towers to be evacuated. Less than a minute later, Flight 175 crashes into the south face of the South Tower. With New York being a center for media output, television journalists and their teams were on the spot, scrambling for information and reporting live from as close to the location of the disaster as possible.
Have you seen any evidence, Elliot, of people being taken out of the building? You say that emergency vehicles, or the concern is human loss.
Holy fuck!
Oh my gosh, another plane has just hit. Oh, another one just hit.
It was now clear that this was no accident. Initially, after the attack on the North Tower, workers, staff, and visitors in the South Tower were told to stay where they were. after the second crash, a mass evacuation began in the South Tower, below the impact zone of stories 77 to 85. Confusion reigned. Even though one of the stairwells in the South Tower was undamaged, as the plane had hit the building at an offset from the vertical center line and could therefore be a route to safety, it was filled with choking black smoke, leading many to mistakenly make their way upwards towards the roof for a rescue that never materializes. Tragically, too, individuals heeded the instructions given by 911 telephone operators and earlier building-wide announcements to stay put. Under virtually every other conceivable high-rise fire scenario, this stay-put advice is solid protocol that has saved many lives. Keeping people out of stairwells and inside compartmented areas on their floors is usually much safer than descending a staircase that can become a smoke-filled chimney. However, 9/11 was a very unique situation where the rulebook should not have been adhered to. For those lucky individuals who found themselves below the points of impact in each tower, their escape was still a harrowing experience, as they had to contend with a variety of conditions: collapsed ceilings, destroyed partitions, water from broken pipes raining down, as well as fires, plus thick smoke obscuring their vision. For those less fortunate souls trapped on higher floors, conditions quickly became unbearable. None of the windows in the World Trade Center were designed to open. Some were blown out by the impact of the plane, others were smashed by those who were trapped, desperate to escape the smoke that was engulfing them and to gasp for fresh air. Arguably, the most poignant image is the falling man. This photograph, shot by Richard Drew, contrasts with others of a similar nature from that day. In the picture, this unnamed man seems to have adopted a body position like an arrow. Although he has not chosen his fate, he appears, in his last moments of life, to have embraced it. If he were not falling, he might very well be flying. Is this stoicism, willpower, a portrait of resignation, or something else? A terrible dilemma? A choice made for freedom? Upon completion in 1973, the Twin Towers were briefly the tallest buildings in the world, and at the time of the terrorist attacks, they were still in the top 5. Since fire had never before caused a skyscraper to collapse, and the impact of aircraft had been considered in their design, their destruction initially came as a surprise to those in the engineering community. John Skilling, lead structural engineer for the World Trade Center, hypothesized about a plane crash after the 1993 bomb blast incident at the World Trade Center. Our analysis indicated the biggest problem would be the fact that all the fuel from the airplane would dump into the building. There would be a horrendous fire, a lot of people would be killed, but the building's structure would still be there. Just 8 years later, his theory would be proved wrong. Unfortunately for the victims of 9/11, his calculations did not take into account the impact that a jet flying at high speed would have, nor the intensity of a large-scale fire fueled by thousands of gallons of aviation fuel. No designs were prepared for those circumstances.
I don't think anybody expected this building to collapse, even after the structural damage on the top. These buildings were wrapped in steel the way your foot is wrapped by a sock. The steel side structures were not holding up these floors. These floors were held up by pinions, one between each floor. And so when the first 2 floors gave way, the weight of that was sufficient to collapse every pinion and every floor, you know, straight down to the bottom.
Caroline Dry's home recording captures the immediate shock of the events unfolding.
And vodka.
Mine's just juice, Mom. Screwdriver.
Yeah, Mom, this is totally apple juice. Way to go, way to start.
Oh!
Oh my God! Oh my God! Meg, just hang on. No.
So cute. Oh, look at the window.
Shut the window, shut the window.
A vast worldwide television and radio audience witnessed the destruction of the Twin Towers. As the roar of the collapse gave way to silence, tremendous gray-white clouds of pulverized concrete and gypsum rushed through the streets. Shocked viewers, along with those in the streets of New York, believed a new explosion or impact had produced smoke and debris that obscured the South Tower. But once the wind blew away the smoke, it became clear that the imposing structure was no longer there. Due to the destruction of the gypsum-encased stairwells of the impact, no one above the impact zone of floors 93 to 99 in the North Tower escapes. The Marriott Hotel, located at the base of the two towers, is also destroyed. 9:59 a.m. The horror is repeated as the South Tower collapses, live on television. At 11 a.m. Mayor Rudolph Giuliani calls for the evacuation of Lower Manhattan, south of Canal Street, including more than 1 million residents, workers, and tourists, as efforts continue throughout the afternoon to search for survivors at the World Trade Center site.
I feel terrible for the people that we lost, some of whom I talked to just 15 minutes before we lost them. And the city is going to survive. We're going to get through it. It's going to be a very, very difficult time. I don't think we yet know the pain that we're going to feel when we find out who we lost. But the thing we have to focus on now is getting the city through this and surviving and being stronger for it.
8:30 p.m. President Bush addresses the nation.
Make no mistake, the United States will hunt down and punish those responsible for these cowardly acts.
It's difficult to find the words to describe the feeling in New York City today. New York City is in shock. One of its most famous landmarks destroyed, thousands dead, and America is under siege.
I felt horrified because it's like you don't know what's coming. They kept saying another plane coming, and all you hear was this rumbling. People was crying. People was jumping out the window. They was waving, like trying to like say, "Help me!" Like you see their arms, and then you saw the man jump down, and he just Everybody was jumping. It was crazy.
Standing down on 6th Avenue earlier, and I watched the flames coming out of the Trade Center, and I saw it collapse, and it was just the most horrible thing I've ever seen in my life.
Unbelievable. I didn't think something like this could have happened, especially in New York.
It makes you wonder what our intelligence community is doing, you know, to have something like this happen. How can this happen? This is world-reaching. It's not just this city. It's around the world. It's gonna. I don't think anything will ever be the same again.
Before September 11th, 2001, the United States wasn't officially engaged in any wars. Few people had ever heard of Islamic extremists, Al-Qaeda, or Osama bin Laden. ISIS didn't even exist. September 11th, 2001 is an inflection point. There was life before the terrorist attacks, and there was a different life afterwards. The shock and horror of 9/11 wasn't confined to days or weeks. The attacks cast a long shadow over American life, and its repercussions are still felt today. What was once unimaginable and practically unthinkable, a large-scale attack on American soil, became a collective assumption, namely, that terrorists could very well attack again, perhaps with biological or nuclear weapons. It did not just create a sense of dread and panic in New York City, but across the world. The September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center elicited an immediate response of local emergency and rescue first responders to assist in the evacuation of the two towers, resulting in a terrible loss of the same fire service and ambulance personnel when the towers collapsed.
When we sit down at our dinner table, we have an empty chair. When we get together for holidays, we have an empty chair. We can't move on. There's no closure, and there is no closure. What I'm thinking is, I have to look down and see that this is no longer here, and he's no longer here. And everyone else thinks that this is just okay, and it's fine, and we can move on, and we can't.
Firefighters from the New York City Fire Department rushed to the World Trade Center minutes after the first plane struck the North Tower. Chief Joseph Pfeiffer and his crew with Battalion 1 were among the first on the scene.
I just got to work in the office, and for some reason it was early and somebody had a TV on watching the news, and this whole thing started on live TV. So we had a meeting, and about 8:30 I got activated through FEMA for the response.
Initially, the team focused on the rescue and evacuation of the building's occupants, which involved sending firefighters up to assist people who were trapped in elevators and elsewhere, as well as ensuring all floors were completely evacuated. Many of the evacuees commented afterwards that the bravery of these firefighters was immeasurable. The look on their faces was one of steadfast determination. They were aware of the dangers they would face, yet continued on, hour upon hour, regardless of their own safety and well-being. Problems with radio communication also caused further problems, as commanders lost contact with many of the firefighters in the buildings. Coupled with this, as the news of the attack spread, many off-duty firefighters arrived at the scene eager to help, but without their radios. As a result, firefighters encountered difficulties reporting on their progress and location and were unable to hear evacuation orders, sometimes with tragic consequences. Oreo Palmer was one such brave firefighter who lost his life in his quest to save others. Without thought for his own safety, he rushed from the North Tower to the south at 9:03 a.m. On the stairwells, he realized that some firefighters could not communicate with each other, so worked quickly to rectify the problem with radio receivers. Then, although most elevators had been rendered non-operational, Palmer single-handedly fixed one and took it to the 41st floor, which was halfway to the impact zone, which spanned the 77th to the 85th floors.
Battalion 7 on floor 40 of Tower 2. We got one elevator working up to the 40th floor, staffed by a member of Line 15.
Climbing on foot, he was a very fit man, so he was able to make it where others might not have been able to. He ascended 12 floors in 10 minutes, wearing all the bunker gear, weighing in at a crippling 50 to 60 pounds. Those fortunate enough to have survived the initial impact of the crash on the 78th floor hoped to take an elevator to comparative safety on the 41st. But it failed to work. Palmer did the unthinkable and reached the 78th floor to save them.
We're on the 43rd floor. In stairway B. What floor is we trying to get up to, Mario? I'm up to 5-5. We're going to have to host it. I'm on 69 now, so we need a higher bank, please. These stairway walls have been compromised on 73 and 74. The walls are breached, so be careful.
It is clear he is in a race for time, saving his oxygen and energy by not speaking. He discovered the south stairwell was safe to the impact zone and beyond. For the hundreds trapped there, this stairwell was an escape route.
What floor are you in, Mario? South stairwell, south tower. We got police isolated pockets of fire. We should be able to knock it down with 2 lines. Where you know that? 78th floor, and it's numerous 1045 code 1. 478. That's all of it. Numerous civilians, there's 2 engines up here. All right, 10-4, we're on our way.
After such Herculean efforts on his part, tragically, the impact of the crash was so strong that the South Tower collapsed, killing him and many others.
All I can tell you is that just put yourself in that position. It was your family member. Every one of these firefighters in here are our brothers. Every one of these police officers in here are our brothers. And the civilians that are in here are the people that we're sworn to protect. That's our job. That's what we do. And as far as I'm concerned, I treat every person in there as my personal family, and every firefighter does the same thing. Our job is to go in and do what we have to do. We tell them the rest. They do get their rest. We tell them to sit down. We have guys lined up over there, thousands of firefighters and fire officers lined up over there with police officers waiting for the opportunity to go in. We have to hold them back because we don't want to create a situation where, because of the structural defects, etc., where they're going to be put further in danger, and maybe during the recovery process, we wind up endangering someone else. That's our worst fear right now.
Volunteers quickly descended on Ground Zero to help in the rescue and recovery efforts. At Jacob Javits Convention Center, thousands showed up and registered with the authorities. Construction projects around the city came to a halt as workers walked off jobs to help at Ground Zero.
The amount of rubble, and actually what we were trying to do was dig out a fire truck that was on the street buried.
I really thought I was going to just die yesterday. Like, I just thought I was going to stop breathing. I was thinking of leaving. And then I saw these guys, you know, coming back that are supposed to take 1.5-hour shifts, and they're not coming back because they refuse to give up. And then I thought, like, these guys are staying, and they need medical attention. I mean, these firemen and these police officers, and if they could stay, I could stay. And
you know, just droves and droves of firefighters and EMS people and city workers, you know, MTA workers and Verizon people, and you know, just a lot of people that look dog tired. Who've been, you know, working hard hours trying to do whatever they can to clear people out and find whoever might still be alive. There was, I think, one gentleman they were still in touch with on a cell phone who was buried in a car that they were trying to get to.
So we kept digging, and as we were digging, it was a big explosion, a bang, you know, and within 10 minutes we kept digging, and they started pulling everybody out.
Believe me, after going in there, we're still standing. It doesn't look like it. It looks like everything's down, everything's gone, but we are still standing. You got to see these people. Like, there's no such thing as having one hero anymore.
Search and rescue efforts and making the site of the Twin Towers safe in the immediate aftermath of 9/11 involved iron workers, structural engineers, asbestos workers, boiler makers, carpenters, cement masons, construction managers, electricians, insulators, machinists, plumbers, and pipe fitters, amongst other professions. 400 working dogs were also deployed in the quest to find survivors. Sadly, only 20 survivors were pulled alive from the rubble.
You spoke to him then while he was watching the first, and what was that like?
He said it was really chaotic. He said a plane just went through the building. He said, Rachel, I just watched somebody jump or get pushed or fall right out of the building, out of One World Trade. He's like, it's chaotic here, and I work for Bloomberg News, so I said, can I get anyone on the phone to talk about what you're seeing? And he was like, you don't understand, it's chaotic. And none of them ever knew that it was a terrorist attack. They all thought it was an accident. No one ever knew. And they were all still on the phone right before the second plane crashed. If I think about it, they had no time to get out. They had no time to run, but I still am, of course, keeping hope. And
was he on the phone to you when the second plane?
He was on the phone to me about 2 minutes before the second plane went in.
And you never heard from him again after that?
I called back and his phones were dead. I don't know what else to do. I'm just going from place to place. This was my fiance. I planned my whole future out with this person. If I don't find him, I have to start all over again. It's taken me my entire life to find him, and I don't know what I will do without him. Please, please help me find him.
The day after the attack, then Mayor Rudy Giuliani told reporters that they were receiving mobile phone calls from people trapped in the debris, but there was little hope for most. An extensive compensation program was quickly established by Congress in the aftermath to compensate the victims and families of victims of the 9/11 attack, with tremendous amounts also raised by the public.
Americans have many questions tonight. Americans are asking, who attacked our country? The evidence we have gathered all points to a collection of loosely affiliated terrorist organizations known as Al-Qaeda. Our message to them is clear. No matter how long it takes, America will find you, and we will bring you to justice.
Rallying around the populist phrase, "United we stand," Americans were determined to be resilient in the face of this unprecedented and devastating attack on their homeland. President Bush and the federal government found widespread support for their response to the attacks and seemingly a need for retribution. Nearly 3,000 people in New York, Virginia, and Pennsylvania lost their lives on 9/11 after terrorists orchestrated by Osama bin Laden hijacked airplanes as weapons. As the years pass, suffering continues alongside the memorializing among those who lost loved ones, and by survivors who sustained injuries or who were forever changed by the horrific events, even as the country and the world changes.
My name is Stan Honda. I'm a former AFP photographer, and I was here on 9/11 photographing the Trade Center attack. Well, that morning, I got a phone call from one of the other AFP photo stringers, he watches the early morning news, and he said there's a plane that crashed in the World Trade Center. I live near the number 6 subway train, and I think I was on the last train that was running that ended up at the City Hall Brooklyn Bridge stop. We're on Fulton, right near Broadway, and I think I was around this area photographing the people running from the Trade Center site, and also the first tower as it was collapsing. You could see this cloud of dust and debris and smoke coming between the buildings through the streets and toward where I was standing. So that was pretty frightening. I think this was the area where I had come out of the building after the first tower had collapsed, and the whole area was covered with this white and gray dust, so it really looked like it had snowed. The sidewalks, people were covered, vehicles, cars, and everything were just covered with this dust. The picture of the woman, of Marcy Borders, I took into the, she actually came into the lobby of the building that I went into after the first tower had collapsed.
Hi, my name is Marcy Borders. I'm from Bayonne, New Jersey. I became famous from working in the North Tower on the 81st floor. My image is known all over the world as the Dust Lady. The morning of 9/11, my supervisor had thought maybe, you know, a small jet plane might have nipped us, but at that time we had no idea what was going on. So then I began to panic, you know, so they, you know, sat me down, told me to, you know, relax, take deep breaths. But the way the building was shaking, it was just, I couldn't sit there. You know, you just heard people screaming, stay away from the glass, stay away from the glass. You saw injured. I saw people with objects in them, burnt skulls. It was crazy compared to what I just left. My stairwell was normal. That's when you just hear firemen scream and run and don't look back. Then I took chase, you know, from this cloud of dust, smoke that's just following me. And once it caught me, it like threw me on, you know, my hands and my knees. You know, every time I inhaled, my mouth just filled up with it. I was choking. I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. I was just like, you know, saying to myself and saying out loud that I didn't want to die. I didn't want to die. And a stranger, I remember clear as day, he didn't have a shirt on. And he grabbed me, and, you know, with so much going on, I was kind of afraid of him. So I was asking him, what are you gonna do? Where are you taking me? What are you gonna do? And he was like, to safety. I guess that's where this picture was taken, and I'm known all over as the Dust Lady.
We're used to big building fires and disasters like airplane crashes, but this seemed like something that was way beyond what any of us had ever seen. It's really an honor, I think, to have the photographs in the museum there. The two pictures, the one of Marcy and Ed, got a pretty huge amount of media attention. I was pretty surprised, and I think after a while I realized that they're pictures of people, and I think that a lot of people could identify with these two individuals, the struggle that they were going through, I think, to make it through the day. And I think that's probably maybe one of the reasons that the pictures themselves became fairly well known and well used.
Now, the site of the New York City attacks is home to One World Trade Center, the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere. Plans for the World Trade Center rebuilding started in July 2002, which was headed by the Lower Manhattan Development Corporation. There was division among members of the public, architects, and political leaders as to what an appropriate new World Trade Center would look like. Understandably so, as with so much at stake for so many, it had to be right. The inspiring structure, which saw completion completed in 2014, acts as a marker of resilience in the face of tragedy. The names of every person who died in the terrorist attacks are inscribed in bronze panels around two enormous memorial pools with waterfalls, standing in the footprint of where the Twin Towers once stood. A Callery pear tree that miraculously survived within the rubble of Ground Zero, now known as the Survivor Tree, stands tall and thriving nearby. A symbol of strength and resilience here and elsewhere. Each year, the 9/11 Memorial gives seedlings from the Survivor Tree to communities that have endured tragedy. Those old enough remember exactly what they were doing on that Tuesday morning when they learned that an airplane had flown into one of the Twin Towers. It is one of those pivotal moments that has shaped America. For many, it was the moment when neighbors became brothers, stopping what they were doing to contribute time, money, and other resources to those directly impacted by the attacks. "9/11 changed the world." 20 years after the event, the attacks of September 11th, 2001 are still fresh in the memory of the world.